Hey brothers, hey YouTubers. I got a really interesting video this week. It's going to be pretty short, but I got a few points I really want to hit on that I think are worth sharing. Before I get into that, if you don't subscribe to Masonic Improvement yet, if you get any value out of my content, do me a favor. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It will, and be sure you hit that little bell thing. That way you can keep up with everything. When new content comes out, you'll be alerted of it. In the probably like the last 6 months, I've been pretty bad about making videos. I'll admit that, but typically what I usually do is make a video a week or so. So by all means, if you're interested in keeping up, subscribe, hit the bell. You get those notifications, you know what's going on. You can also find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I do post a lot of content there that never makes its way to YouTube. So be sure you, if you are on either one of those socials, go ahead and follow me on that too. Give me a like. We can keep up with each other. We can continue this conversation elsewhere. So the topic for this video is living in the past. And this is something that we have all been exposed to if you've been in Freemasonry for any period of time, but not just Freemasonry, but if you're civically active or in any other organizations, you have probably heard this in those organizations as well. And it's usually something along the lines of, that's not the way we've always did it, or that's not how we did it in my year. Something indicative of this idea or this concept that we can't try anything new because that's not how we've always done it. And that's what I really want to hit, because I feel as though this mentality is so detrimental. It's this fear of the unknown, and which is it's a normal reaction to be afraid of things that we don't understand or we're not used to. But by the same token, you don't grow when you stay in your comfort zone. That's as a human or as an organization. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone a little bit to keep growing. And the thing is, Freemasonry is all about growth. And so who's the organization really to, or who are we as an organization to tell people that they need to constantly work on improving themselves, becoming better versions of themselves, when as an organization we are afraid to even do that ourselves. And so it's just so frustrating, because you see these young men, you see well, let me back up. You see older brothers that are trying to attract young men into the organization, and they get excited. Oh, we got a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old, he's petitioning. And then that excitement quickly fades once they realize, this person wants to be active. He wants to participate. He wants to share his opinions. He wants to have feedback. He wants to be, you know, uh, people ask him questions. And so all of a sudden, hey, we're not comfortable with this anymore. This guy has ideas. He wants to do things a little bit differently. And so we have this weird little uh, threshold that we have to be able to cross, where we're willing to be able to pass things on to other people. And I've talked about this before in another video. I'll put the somewhere up here. I'll put the link to it, and so I won't really hit that really hard. But long story short, I totally understand it. After you've had some brothers that have maintained lodges and kept things running for, in some cases, decades, I completely understand any hesitation there might be in handing that off, passing the reins. But we have to. We have to be willing to move forward. We have to be willing to, even if it's a little bit at a time, we have to be willing and able to pass things on to these new Masons, these other generations of Masons. And I'm not suggesting that just because some young man joins the lodge, we should immediately start doing everything he suggests or anything like that. Nothing of the sort. But this mentality that we can't do something because that's not the way we've always done it is is harmful. And the truth is, living in the past will assure that you become a part of the past, and not in a good way. That's not what we want as an organization. We want an organization that is healthy, that will last decades into the future, centuries into the future. And to do that, you can't physically or mentally comprehend Freemasonry existing 500 years from now exactly like it is today. I mean, the ritual may be very similar, but you know, and the the organization of the lodge itself may be very similar. But as far as what we do in our meetings and our processes we have in place and our, you know, all kinds of things, like, they can't be the same. They just technology is advancing too fast. The the there's just too many new ideas. I say new ideas. There's too many ideas that are being revisited that are gaining popularity in the organization that can't be ignored for another 100 years or another 200 years, or even, you know, probably even another 10 years in some situations. And so this idea that we're just going to ignore all these things and keep doing things the way we always have been, no, you can't. You simply can't, because your lodge will die. And in many cases, these lodges that are clinging to the ways that they always done things are barely clinging to life at all. Which brings me to my next point I wanted to touch on, and it's a little different, but I feel as though they're linked very closely together. And that is everything is either healthy or dying. And people will say, well, it's not so dualistic. It's not, you know, either or. But why not? Why isn't it? If something is healthy, then it's doing well. And if it's not doing well, if it's not contributing in a positive manner, then it is killing it. So if it's not healthy, it's dying. If the organization is not healthy, then it's in decline. If your lodge is not thriving, then it's dying. And so we have to look at good, healthy practices and find ways to improve them, to make them more impactful, while at the same time we're looking at practices that are detrimental and harmful and weed those out. It's like having a garden, right? When, for those of you that probably have not gardened before, and I'm no expert at all, but you plant your seeds and you let them grow, and then once they start to grow, you start to, you know, you have to thin them out, and then you have to be sure you keep the weeds pulled and everything. You want to isolate the good and nourish it and encourage it and remove the bad. And that's what we have to do. So if your organization is not healthy, it's dying. And if practices are not contributing in a positive nature, then they're detracting in a negative way. So I'm very curious to know what my viewers feel about this kind of thing. It's a stab at a shorter video, but I want to be able to get a point across without taking a whole lot of the viewers' time. I'm really interested in your opinions as well as the points I brought up. You know, if the living in the past will ensure that you become a part of the past, do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Do you feel as though that we need to just keep doing things the way that we always have, or do you feel as though that we need to be open to new ideas? And as far as the other point, everything is either healthy or dying. And I know some people have to disagree with that, but I'd be very interested in knowing why. Why do you feel that this is not accurate? Or if you totally agree with me, please share. Why is it true? Give me some experiences. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. Like I said, I'm going to keep it pretty short. Again, if you haven't subscribed, I strongly would encourage you to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Share this video with other brethren that you think may be interested. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care.